Cool. So that being said, my name is Gareth. You're watching the Hub Online Network, and I am sitting here with Sherri, co-owner of Cynders, which is what's the typical name that you would give this type of store?
Just a cannabis store.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you co-own it with your son.
Yes, correct.
Tell me a little bit about the process that you and your son had to go to open this shop up.
It was a lot longer and a lot more convoluted than we thought at the beginning. Okay. And you sometimes think, if you would have known, would we have went there? Because it took a year of waiting and information and security checks and financial checks and everything to make sure that you were no kind of criminal, you had no criminal history, your family had no criminal history. It was quite the process, and you're waiting, right? And you can't get any information. So it's like, are we accepted? Are we still going? It was just quite the long process.
Now, I'm not too clear on the rules of how any of this type of store works. So before it was legal, there were medical marijuana stores. Were you trying to build the store then, or were you, once it was legalized, then you decided you wanted to build a store in Clinton?
Well, it was already legalized or coming along. Everybody who thought about getting a store was already, the town had went through the process and they had agreed to actually 2 stores. They were allowing 2 stores in town. They had to be so far apart, but anywhere pretty much on the main street, which is our commercial district. And so it was kind of like, should we or shouldn't we? And it's like, well, let's start. And then once we got started, you just can't quit.
Right.
So it was kind of like just a should we or shouldn't we? There's nobody else around, why not?
Okay. Now, one of the reasons that I'm here talking with you is A, I want to expand our show into Clinton, and B, Cache Creek is looking at the possibility of having their own store. As far as I know, no one has said that they want to build a store there, but the council has put out a survey to the public about farming and selling cannabis, as well as changing bylaws to make it possible for someone to run a cannabis store. So did you have to go through a similar process? Were you on the ground level, or did that already happen before you decided to do this?
They already did it before we were deciding.
Okay.
And that's how we knew that they were allowing 2. And there was interest at the beginning. Someone else was interested also. And once they got looking into it, it's a lot more than you think. It's not like going and buying a liquor store and saying, here we are, I can open. It's not.
That being said, having a liquor store, I think, would be the closest thing to compare a cannabis store to. What is the difference? Or do you know what the difference is?
The advertising rules are different. Your banking rules are different. Everything seems to be a little bit more. It's legal, but the whole world isn't legal, so you cannot use like international banks. You cannot use the POS system, say. You cannot use one that can be used internationally because it's not legal internationally. So there's different laws. And yeah, your advertising, a lot of them are the same. Your responsibility pictures, you have to be 19, you need all your security system. But it's still, people are still taking their time about getting all your policies in place and whatnot.
Right.
Like they say it's like a liquor store, but they're rating it a little bit riskier.
Really?
Yeah, which I have not felt.
Okay. What has been the sort of public demeanor towards the store in town here?
People are a little nervous at first. It's always an issue bringing a criminal. It's not criminal, but there is always a criminal element to it, or there always has been. So it just brings a little, they felt it might bring a little bit more risk or a little bit riffraff into town. And it took a little bit to get used to people walking in and being comfortable walking into a store. But now I find most people will just come on in and say, hey, how's it going?
Right.
It's like going into any other commercial retail store.
Okay. Awesome.
For all ages. I mean, the younger, the older, it's just really surprising.
That being said, one of the rules that they're looking at for the possible store in Cache Creek is the building has to be so many meters away from like from a school or stuff along of those natures. Are there similar rules in Clinton like that?
Those are the same rules anywhere.
Okay.
I think you have the option of setting your distance. I'm not quite sure how that works. Like we had to be so many meters away from the school,
right.
So many meters away from a daycare.
Okay.
And pretty much it just happened that anywhere on the main street happened to fit that criteria. Us here at the very end, being as close as we are to the school,
Yeah.
It was sort of a fine line. We barely made it, right? I mean, but this is the commercial district, so, but that is one of the rules.
Okay. For yourself, when cannabis was legalized, were you like, yes, finally it's legalized, or were you like, oh, now this is a good business opportunity?
It was more a business opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, it's very funny seeing the people come in and go, oh my goodness, I can't believe that we're finally just walking into a store, right? We've
Right.
been saying it for 30 years. It's like this is never going to happen. And for us, it just feels like it's a store. You have the same problems, the same issues of any other store. You've got your staff, you've got your advertising, it's just a store.
Supply. Is that like do you have to get it from a government facility, or
It's strictly,
are there sort of like guys on the street that you get your stuff from?
oh gosh, no. Not that people haven't tried to come in to, ask. It's like, hey, we've got some really good stuff. It's like, no. Strictly everything comes from the government. It's all prepackaged. People want to check out the buds. You can't. You can't
Right.
see them. You can't smell them. You can't touch them.
Right.
Everything is prepackaged, pre-weighed, which is a huge relief off of our shoulders also, because it's all regulated that way. It's not us weighing, it's not anything for our fault. It's everything's pre-done for you.
Is it possible to see an actual package of something?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next thing that I would like to compare this to is something like actual cigarettes or tobacco.
Like this is actually a very colorful package. The majority of them are black, or because one of the regulations, they're not supposed to be attractive, and
So there is a warning on here,
mm-hmm.
but it's not.
And there's a seal on every one.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, every one is sealed.
Now, but there's no like harmful effects kind of warning. Keeping in mind, I don't know very much about cannabis myself, and seeing the package is sort of for the first time. There's no.
The only, I guess, the
Like you would
health
see
warning would be a smoking.
You would see on a cigarette packet like the teeth or someone I can't even think of
Well,
them now.
even then, now they have to hide them in the stores.
Right.
All of these have to be in locked cupboards. They can't be out and about. We have some on display for the edibles, but
And they really know how to make it look fun.
that's actually a fun one. The majority are black or more plain.
Okay.
Some of the edibles on the top shelf are fun colored.
Right.
But one of the rules was that it was not to be made, most of them are like this, in your blacker packages.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They were not supposed to be made attractive to children, right? I mean, even though you're supposed to keep them locked up in your house, you're supposed to have you're responsible.
Right.
So they can get away with putting colors on some of the packages and whatnot, but you still can't see any product. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for showing that.
But yes, so more companies, I'm surprised, are not putting them in baggies. That is one of the huge complaints, is the packaging.
Right.
And it has been right from the get-go.
Okay.
The packaging is too big. You have a big package that has like this much in it. They use the same package for all the sizes they sell.
Now there is, again, kind of like a liquor store. There is the BC cannabis store, and then there's individual cannabis stores. Is there a difference that you are aware of between them and you?
Not per se. I've had a little bit of an issue, like going online and you're supposed to, like some of them are quantity controlled.
Okay.
So if you are allowed one case, then each store should be allowed one case. I found, you get to, they're sold out, but meanwhile you can still order it on the BC Cannabis line and still get it. And meanwhile, I have a question about that, right?
Right.
Because how come they can? I mean, there's a case of 12. You're allowed one.
Interesting.
Mostly it's okay. Supply is difficult in the fact that you find something good and then it's gone. Your sizes, we're trying to sell more ounces now.
Right.
It seems to be the thing in our area. And to consistently get the same thing every week, it's difficult.
Which is bigger, a gram or an ounce?
An ounce.
Okay.
Yeah, your grams, like your little one, and your ounce is 28 grams.
Okay. Where do you see this industry going in the next 5 years? If you had a crystal ball.
I just think there's going to be, it'll just be like any corner store.
Yeah?
That, I mean, again, as age appropriate, you have to be over 19. But because more stores, when we opened the store last January, this is our year anniversary, January 31st.
Oh,
We've been
congratulations.
here a year. It's been an interesting year, some ups and downs and issues, but overall
Did COVID help your sales, or did everybody staying home?
Interestingly, when all of this started, we had some really good, all the motels were full in town doing the big bar blast and trying to fix the slide out there.
Oh, yeah.
So that kept us through the winter. Summer, you wouldn't really think there was much of a pandemic happening for the traffic coming through.
Right.
I mean, once they closed the borders, we had only 4 or 5 a day from the States. So hopefully this summer will be better. It did kind of bring everything down to, I'm not sure if we were expecting more because we had no idea, right? When we first opened, there was 30 stores. Now there's like 300. So
Right.
like when I say it's going to be like a corner store, it'll be like a corner store where you're going to have to do something to bring your... Right now we have a lot of Cache Creek, Ashcroft, Lillooet, amazing, wonderful people that, yeah, we'll have to keep if they have another store in Cache Creek, we'd have to do something to keep them coming here because, we love the company and the people.
Where's the next closest store?
100 Mile.
Okay.
Yeah. And they've got 2 there.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, do you welcome the challenge of another store in a closer community?
Yes and no. How's that?
That's fair.
When 100 Mile first opened their first one, it was kind of like, what's going to happen, right? Because we did get a lot of people from 100 Mile.
Okay.
And then they opened another one. And we still get a lot of people from 100 Mile. So we're offering something that they like, whether it's the relaxed atmosphere, the chance to ask questions and talk. When you go into a lot of the other stores, it is, like you say, very sterile, like come in, get your stuff, leave. Here, it's a lot of questions, a lot of, how does this work, and what do you like? And they just stay and they pass on information to us, we pass on information to them. The only thing we cannot do, we cannot say anything medical. We are not a medical store.
Okay.
We can suggest so-and-so found that this worked for back pain.
Okay.
But we cannot say that it will.
Right.
We can suggest and have, I don't know, what do you call those? Not tutorials, different recommendations from other people.
Sure.
And how it works. But
Testimonials.
Testimonials, that's it. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, we cannot say this will work to help you sleep or this will. I mean, it's some of the properties in this particular, say, indica strain should make you feel a little heavier, sleepier. But yeah, we can't say it's going to make you sleep. Take one every night.
Hey, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. What do you think is the funnest thing that you sell? Like if you had a thing that you could just be like, that's either fun or, I don't know, or the most interesting thing that you think that you sell. So I would imagine that
it's actually funny, edibles. I think edibles would be, because the dosage is 10 milligrams,
yeah,
which seems really small compared to the other illegal or before stores. However, it's humorous seeing a big guy come in and go, oh my goodness, like I only took one, like half of that, and it was like great.
right.
And it's like, oh, that's interesting. Because the dosage seems small, but because everything the government makes is pure. There's no additives, there's nothing extra. So it seems a little stronger, everybody seems to think.
Okay. That being said, do you feel like this is a better way to, like, let's just say that cannabis was legal and you could make your own store with your own crop or have it this way? Is this a better way to do it?
I think so.
Government controlled.
It takes the responsibility away from you. It takes, it's controlled, it's tested, I was leery at the beginning about vapes.
Yep.
Because of all the issues there were with vapes. So at the beginning, I really didn't get any, but so many people are asking for them. Like they're non-smell, they're easy, and then I started thinking, well, because it's the government and they have tested, they don't want it to come back on them. They don't want to be sued. They don't want to. So I think it's the safest way.
Okay.
And I feel it's safe for me to say, hey, I can sell you this comfortably.
Right. Awesome.
And this day and age, who knows what's in anything, right?
That's true.
So this is comfortable.
One of the only other issues that have been brought up in the thought of having a Cache Creek store is the signage on or the possibility of signage on a building. They're talking about not letting the possible store have pictures of hemp leaves, for example. What are your?
Did you see our sign?
Yeah, I did.
Now, would that be considered?
I'm assuming that would be considered a no-no, and we will get a piece of B-roll to show once we leave. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's or do you have any strong feelings about that?
The signage in the beginning, it can't be anything, again, that attracts children, right? And that's the whole issue for them. It shouldn't be a huge deal because you as a child or as a teenager or something, you're not allowed in the liquor store.
Right.
Same as here. You know it's cannabis. It is legal. Kids will learn about it if they don't. It's so young they learn anyway. You're not promoting it. It's just a sign on the building.
Okay.
I don't want to. Yeah.
I mean, your sign doesn't go. There isn't a picture of somebody going, "Yeah, come on."
Yeah,
right?
and there's nobody, on there smoking a joint. As long as I guess they're classy enough, it doesn't really matter. A sign is your business. It's meant to attract the people you want. So yeah, we have a signage rules here in town too about size and how far away from the building and sticking out from the building. There's rules also.
Right. Okay. Last question that I can think of is when you guys first opened, was there a novelty period where people are like, "Oh my God, there's a store here," and you saw like an influx of people coming in, and being like, "I just gotta, try it one time," and then it kind of evened out, or was it just sort of
once
standard?
People got comfortable, you have your regulars that come in all the time. I mean, it's always different here. This is a tourist stop. So summer is your money making. Also around here is everybody has their plants. So come September it went, whoa, look at that, harvest is in.
Okay.
It's noticeable, totally noticeable, for about 2 months.
Right.
And because we are kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. We are a tourist town. We didn't expect this pandemic, but we knew that we would be mostly summer, and then our regulars all winter, right? Which is pretty much what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. No, just let everyone know we've been here a year. It's our anniversary coming up on the 31st.
Okay.
And we'll have every month we have a free draw.
Okay.
We are affiliated with Annie's in Cache Creek.
Nice.
We kind of partner with her, so we have a gift certificate that goes down to her draw, and she has a free pizza in our draw.
Okay.
We're trying to partner up with some other people so we can, make our draw a little bit better. But every month we have a draw that has a bunch of cool stuff in it. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Well, at this time, Cache Creek does not have somebody that I am aware of that is lined up to start a store. I just know that they are... you know what? That being said, they are looking at farming and stores. So what do you think about farming in the area?
Absolutely amazing. There is nothing wrong with more variety.
Okay.
As long as I keep the quality. And I've noticed in the year that we've been open, the amazing quality, how much better the companies have been trying to make their product.
Okay.
More flavorful, more like Weed Me is amazing. They started out as kind of a cheap weed. We'll get some of that, pre-rolls and whatnot. Now everything they come out with has got so much flavor and smell, and it's like, wow, that's what you want. It just gives you, I call this our variety store. Because you could, go get your ounce, whatever, from your buddy, but you didn't have the variety, and you can get, an indica for the evening, or, you want to go chop some wood or cut the grass, like, oh, let's grab a sativa for today. I mean, it gives you a variety and a choice, right?
Right.
That we have a lot of people that just come in for that. So yeah, this is our variety store.
Okay. Awesome.
And my son's going, like, we're looking to open another store, probably not for another year or so.
Right.
Checking out different areas.
Well, Cache Creek's looking for.
It's like, yeah, we didn't want to stay that close. Like, we got spread out. I know, we thought about it, and that way we monopolize it. But no, it's actually kind of fun. Some stores are willing to talk more than others. When we started this,
Right.
do you know how difficult it was? No one. There was already about a dozen or so stores open, but they didn't want to give you information. They didn't want to tell you the POS system they're using. They didn't want to tell you that there's only 2 banks in the world that will take your money,
Right.
For a fee. So there was not a lot of help. So anyone that comes to me and asks me questions, it's like, yes, I will give you any information you need, because it was so difficult. And it didn't have to be. And having another store, it just kind of gives you a little bit of a challenge. I think that's a little close, but Ashcroft, maybe. Go down the hill.
Well, Ashcroft has been very nay. So not that I think, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth here. Not that I think that they're necessarily against it, but they haven't started
if no
with
one's
it.
interested, if no one's even approached, then why bother?
Right. There was rumor only, as far as I know, that they were looking at putting something into the ESO on the Ashcroft Indian Band Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't heard anything beyond that just being the possibility of a rumor.
Yeah, it's sort of been a yay-nay situation for about the last year.
So the things are popping into my head as we're talking here. So the Cache Creek Council has amended a bylaw, and they've changed the business license for places like this from $400 for a normal store to $460 specifically for a cannabis store. Is that something that happened in Clinton that you're aware of?
When I got my license here in town,
Yeah.
our license is $100. Now, when we started all of this, your POS system, is supposed to $30 a month, it's $500 a month. The bank, just to hold your money, you have your regular business fees, but there's a $400 cannabis fee every month to have my money in the bank.
Wow.
Ridiculous, isn't it? High risk, so your insurance is more.
Define high risk. What do you?
Anything we're up there with liquor store, but higher, because we haven't been around long enough. So they say their policies aren't, even though they should be the same as a liquor store. They have to write new policies. It's more risky. It's just ridiculous, is what it is.
Okay.
It's just a money grab, and the same with everybody had to take. Every single person had to pay $100 to work in a store for a security check. And then, they just came out with serving it right, which is another $35. For me, that's all the money grab. I mean, you can say, okay, don't sell to 19-year-olds, you don't need a $35 course, 10-minute course to teach you how to sell to people and to recognize if they're impaired or not. It's just another little money grab. So I went to the town and I was like, okay, I need a license, a business license. She goes, that'll be $100. I said, are you sure? My words exactly. Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to add another $1,000 just because we're a cannabis store? That seems to be a huge issue. You're a cannabis store, we'll ding you some more. And when is it going to stop? I don't know. When the bigger banks are allowed to take our money, so the credit union can't ding us every month. So meanwhile, they're making a shitload, right?
Wow.
So I think there's only the Bank of Montreal and one of the credit unions in BC that takes money. And they ding you for it. Oh, $1,000 non-refundable application fee.
Wow.
Oh, yes. So when the town only said, oh, $100, and it's like, no, you're just a business like anybody else in our town. It's like, thank you. You're the first person that said that. Kamloops, same thing. You know, your business licenses, it's just a figure. 1,000, your cannabis store, it's 2. It's...
Yeah, well, and as far as, if assuming I'm reading their amendment right, they have upped it for cannabis stores specifically.
And why? So. Why? What is the difference? It is a business in your town that is no different than any other business in your town.
Right.
It's got all the security features that a business needs. It's why? Are you digging more for a cannabis store? It's so annoying.
Well, I appreciate you being so open about that. That's.
Well, everyone, and that's part of the difficult part of it, because when you're starting out and people are taking money for no reason, and it's for no reason. I'm very big on, I will pay for the services that I get.
Right.
And I'll pay decent money if you give me good service, but I don't like paying for a service that, especially if you're not explaining why you're taking my money for no reason. They finally came up through the banks, oh, we're writing new policies. Okay, so you're taking $400 a month from everybody to write new policies. Huh. Huh.
It is interesting how it feels like, this isn't an opinion, this is just what it seems like. They legalized cannabis without having done all the legwork to legalize cannabis.
Yeah, they legalized cannabis and are trying to suck every cent out of it before what, I'm not sure.
Like for a government, not sponsored, created,
regulated.
Yeah. Thank you, regulated thing, and you would think that they would go, okay, everybody, here's the book on how this is going to be run. Boom. There you
yes,
go.
There was a handbook, and then that handbook was revised. As they add rules, but yeah, no one said that. I mean, looking for a POS system, it should be easy. I should be able to get, what's the new cheap one? Most POS systems you're looking at like $30 a month to run, not 500. But because it's cannabis specific, and one of their big things is every month you have to send in a compliance report, which I think the liquor store has to do a similar thing.
Okay.
It's just your inventory, and it's a way of them monitoring that all your inventory is up to par. You're not getting any more in. You're not selling stuff you don't have. And that is actually, I've heard a couple of stores that have been closed down for that fact. And it would be easy because you are offered. Many times we are offered, I can bake for you, I can supply this much for you.
Right.
And you just have to say, no, I don't think so.
Well, them's the rules, right? So.
Those are the rules.
Yeah.
And like I say, you're offered often enough that it would be easy to say, well, I can get rid of this real quick. But no. It took too long and too much to jeopardize that.
Right.
Like, it was a lot of work.
Well, the store that you have here is as comfortable as you say it is. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It
And
wasn't as painful as I thought.
right? It's almost as if the camera wasn't even there.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah, it's like talking to any other customer that comes in and hangs out for a while. And they do.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And to everybody at home, again, this is Sherri with
Cynders.
Cinder. I'm terrible with names. If you watch any of this, if you
Clinton.
ever watch any of the stuff that we do, I am the worst with names. But Cinder, Sherri, Clinton, check them out.
Thank you.
And we'll hopefully maybe do this again in the future.
That would be awesome.
Right on.
Thank you very much.